Hello everybody, welcome back. Today I'd like to talk about the novel Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban is the third book in the Harry Potter series and is written by J.K. Rowling and illustrated by Jim Kay. So this is the illustrated version of Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, and it is illustrated by Jim Kay. I already have the first and second Harry Potter books that Jim Kay has illustrated, and since these books are big, we get some nice sized, colorful, and detailed illustrations that help me to visualize the story in my mind. One thing I like about the cover of this book is that it fits the tone of the story very well, and this is the first of the darker stories in the Harry Potter series, and the night bus, which is also on the cover, is one of those scenes that stands out as new. The Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban brings more breathtaking scenes and unforgettable characters like Remus Lupin, Sirius Black, and Professor Trelawney. This book also introduces the village of Hogsmeade and shows a different aspect to the world J.K. Rowling created. So, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban gets into the action side of the story pretty quickly when compared to the other books. Like in the other Harry Potter books, there's plenty of time spent in lessons and with the main group of friends, but this book also reveals more about Harry's parents and their relationship with Snape. Harry is spending another dreadful summer at home with the Dursleys. Harry sees on Muggle television that a prisoner named Sirius Black has escaped from the wizard prison Azkaban. The story begins when Harry's Aunt Marge comes to visit the Dursleys, and during her visit she insults Harry's parents, so Harry gets mad and uses magic on her, causing Aunt Marge to inflate like a balloon, and she creates chaos in the house, so Harry has had enough of contempt, and despite the report that the dangerous killer Sirius Black has escaped from Azkaban, he leaves the house fearing expulsion from Hogwarts for using magic outside of the school term time. Harry sees the shadow of a dark dog in the street, so he raises his wand in fear, which summons the night bus, and he travels on the night bus to a pub in London called the Leaky Cauldron, and the Leaky Cauldron is the Minister of Magic, Cornelius Fudge, and he tells Harry to stay in the wizarding world until the school term time begins at Hogwarts. So Harry stays in Diagon Alley and in the Leaky Cauldron until the term time begins, and during the rest of his time in the summer holidays, he meets his friends, and he also meets the Weasleys and Hermione Granger. Harry, Ron, and Hermione learn that Sirius Black, who escaped from Azkaban, is a wizard. Before Harry leaves on the train to Hogwarts, he promises to Arthur Weasley that he will not go looking for Sirius Black because everyone suspects that Sirius Black escaped from Azkaban to find and kill Harry at Hogwarts. So Harry boards the train and discovers a new teacher with Ron and Hermione. There's a new defense against the Dark Arts teacher named Remus Lupin, and so in the middle of the train ride, a strange creature boards the train. The strange creature causes Harry to faint, but Professor Lupin thankfully wakes up and casts a spell at the strange creature, which drives it out of the train, and explains to Harry, while giving chocolate to him, that strange creature is called a Dementor, and the Dementors are the guards of Azkaban, and they have the power to suck out a person's happy thoughts when they're near them, and a Dementor also has the power to suck out a person's soul, but that's only a one-time use, so they use that only on the people who they want to destroy the most. So the Dementors have been hired by Dumbledore, the headmaster, to protect Hogwarts from Sirius Black. Once again, Harry is at Hogwarts with his best friends, Hermione Granger and Ron Weasley. Hermione is a Muggle-born student and she loves to study, so she spends most of her time studying. Ron is a pureblood wizard and he is the youngest son of the Weasleys, and the Weasleys are a very poor family, so nothing he owns is new. Even his rat Scabbers is not even new. On his first day of classes back at Hogwarts, in his first Care of Magical Creatures class taught by his favorite teacher, Hagrid, and his friend is Hagrid too. So anyways, and in the Care of Magical Creatures class, Harry is introduced to Buckbeak, a hippogriff, who later wounds Draco Malfoy, who is Harry's most hated enemy. So anyways, Harry, Ron, and Hermione are worried that Hagrid will be removed from his job because Buckbeak, who is Hagrid's most favorite hippogriff, wounded Draco Malfoy. They try to tell Hagrid to calm down, but Hagrid just thinks that he'll be removed from his job. But Hagrid is not removed from his job, although Buckbeak will face an execution and a trial. Harry, Ron, and Hermione try to help Hagrid prepare for his trial. And in the meantime at Hogwarts, everyone suspects that Sirius Black is at the castle, and evidence is beginning to show up that proves it. One night, Sirius Black enters the castle with a knife and slashes the portrait of the fat lady who guards the Gryffindor Tower because she would not let him in. Another time, Sirius Black enters with the knife again, and this time he gets into the tower, and because he had the passwords on a slip of paper outside of it. So this time, he enters the tower, goes to the boys' dormitory, heads straight for Ron's bed, not Harry's bed, and he gets a knife to kill Ron's rat because he knew that Scabbers was actually a man in disguise. But Ron wakes up before Sirius can do anything, so Sirius flees in an instant, and Ron tells everyone what happened. The next day, there's signs of tighter security, and a few weeks later, Harry finally wins his first Quidditch Cup. Like Gryffindor finally wins its Quidditch Cup, and then Hagrid loses his trial, and Buckbeak is sentenced to be executed by Lucius Malfoy. So Lucius Malfoy, who is Draco Malfoy's father, wants Buckbeak to be executed. And so one day, Harry, Ron, and Hermione sneak out of the castle to visit Hagrid to comfort him before Buckbeak is executed. They try to free him, but Ron is dragged away by a gigantic dog into a hole, and that gigantic dog looked like the dog Harry saw on the street before when he escaped from the Dursleys' house. So anyways, Harry and Hermione followed the dog inside the Whomping Willow, and they got trapped inside a room. The dog suddenly transfigured into none other than Sirius Black. Then Remus Lupin came, and they both explained to Harry, Ron, and Hermione that Peter Pettigrew and that Scabbers was actually the person who did all the crimes that everyone thought that Sirius did. But then Severus Snape came, so they disarmed him and proved to Harry, Ron, and Hermione that Scabbers was the one that was really bad. So they transfigured him back into Peter Pettigrew. But Sirius is taken by the Dementors to the Black Lake, and Harry has to cast one of the most powerful spells in all of the Harry Potter series. It's the Expecto Patronum spell, and it has the power to send Dementors away. So anyways, Harry cast that spell, the Dementors went away, he freed Buckbeak, Sirius was taken to the tallest tower, and Harry and Hermione flew on Buckbeak without Ron because Ron was injured, so they flew up to the tallest tower and rescued Sirius, and Sirius flew away on Buckbeak, and in the end the mystery is solved, and once again the end is unpredictable. Sirius Black is one of my favorite characters in the whole Harry Potter series, and this is the book where he was first introduced. In this book we didn't know a lot about Harry's dad, except that he was murdered by Voldemort, and that Harry looked a lot like him. And that Harry looks like a lot like him. So, but in this book we learned that he was really good at Quidditch, what a troublemaker he was, and that he was a friend of Peter Pettigrew, Sirius Black, and Remus Lupin. In this book, Harry discovers his true strengths. He found enough power to cast the Expecto Patronum spell, and he thought it was his dad who cast it for some time, but at the end of the book, he discovered that it was himself who cast the spell. In this book, Remus Lupin was their defense against the dark arts teacher, and he was Harry's most favorite defense against the dark arts teacher by far, and he taught Harry how to cast a spell and explained to him that most witches and wizards had trouble casting the Expecto Patronum spell. And he also taught Harry and his class how to deal with the myriad of creatures like boggarts, redcaps, and grindylows. He also helped Harry learn about himself throughout the book, and he also helped Harry grow. So, Remus Lupin and Harry did not have the same connection that Harry and Sirius did, but it was still nice knowing that someone was looking after Harry the whole book. And also, in this book, we learn more about Harry's parents, and that the character that really shines is Sirius Black, and that his story is far by the highlight, as is Remus Lupin, and that they're both great additions to the Harry Potter series. The Harry Potter series will always be my favorite series of books to read, and I love watching the films based on these books and reading the books, and I also like reading about Harry, Ron, and Hermione's adventures, triumphs, and shortfalls. In this book, we learn more about the sinister forces that threaten the wizarding world, and we also learn that the characters get more developed and complex. I love the Harry Potter series because it's simply amazing. I love to picture myself in situations where I can use magic to help myself, for example, with homework or with chores. I also admire Harry, Ron, and Hermione's friendship, which I can relate with my real-life friends in the book. So anyways, I hope you like this. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.